Welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andy Mack. Thank you so much for joining us. Just 72 hours after that debate between Biden and Trump, the reactions continue to come in about both the current president and the former president. For more on this, let's take you out to Washington, D.C. with Madeline Rivera providing an update.
The president's aides say the president had a bad night, a snapshot, if you will, in the run-up to November. And today they say their conversation revolves around one question.
What do we do next? And, you know, the president, above all, is focused on what do we do next? What do I need to go do? And I think you saw in North Carolina, he knew exactly what he needed to do yesterday.
The president is attending 3 high-dollar fundraisers in New York and New Jersey on Saturday. There is no indication that he is leaving the race. Instead, the campaign is touting a $27 million fundraising haul between Thursday to Friday night, a bright spot in the middle of these dismal headlines. The New York Times editorial board out with a new piece calling on the president to leave the race. But the campaign is trying really hard to put the focus back on former President Trump and the lies they say he told on the debate stage. At a campaign reception in New York on Friday, the president said this: "Whether young or old, here's what I know. I know how to tell the truth. I know right from wrong. I know how to do this job. I know how to get things done." The president, though, made his own list of flubs and misstatements on Thursday, including the assertion that there were no military deaths under his leadership. That is, of course, untrue. 13 service members died at the airport in Kabul during the withdrawal from Afghanistan in August 2021, and 3 service members died from a drone attack in Jordan in January. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
All right, thank you so much for that update. A lot has happened in that 90 minutes and also in the 72 hours since. A live look there in Washington, D.C. at the White House. Of course, President Biden is not there. He is at a pre-planned visit right now at Camp David, of course, potentially meeting with family members, as reports say they're discussing the future of his re-election campaign after an avalanche of criticism following that debate on Thursday night in Atlanta. I want to put up this tweet from the New York Post saying Biden is holed up at Camp David with the First Lady Jill and the family to discuss the campaign's future. And we're going to bring into the conversation right now for more understanding of potentially what this meeting is about and also potentially the future of this campaign. We're going to bring in right now Bloomberg national politics reporter Stephanie Lai. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And a lot of people are asking what's next for Biden and this campaign. How serious are these talks potentially right now at Camp David?
We've been told from campaign aides for a very long time that this meeting was pre-planned. And so to them, that necessarily means that this might not be the conversation that we're expecting. They're trying to tamper down expectations that Biden is seriously considering dropping out. And from all of our sources that we've spoken to at Bloomberg News, it seems like the energy is still that President Biden intends on staying in this race. I mean, the day after the debate, he told the crowd in North Carolina that he was definitely staying in. So all the indications that we have right now point to the fact that he will plan on staying in. But of course, you know, these conversations are ongoing. His family is really influential here in making this decision. So what comes out of this meeting can definitely change the outcome of this 2024 election.
Yeah, that is a very, very true. What comes next in terms of the 2024 election, because we're inching very, very much closer as well to this. And there's a lot of people that have come out and supported Biden, saying it was a bad performance at the debate. Maybe how different are the comments both publicly and then potentially privately behind those closed doors? Those are two very different things, aren't they?
They are. And I think one thing that the campaign has really clung on to is the fact that in public, no Democratic official has outrightly turned against Biden. This is the class of supporters that he cares most about. While the pundit class might be different, that isn't necessarily the same thing. And it's not something that the campaign is worried about. And so behind closed doors, we do hear a little bit more of a sense of concern, especially among donors, but that doesn't necessarily translate to what we've been hearing publicly.
Yeah, that is very, very true. We've heard from Kamala Harris. We've heard from Gavin Newsom, too, potentially people that could replace him if that comes to be, but they are supporting Biden right now as well. Take me back to that night, though, on Thursday night. You were in the spin room in Atlanta. You're watching the debate. You're watching different people for both sides of the aisle, from Biden and also Trump. Take me back through just kind of what happened there, and maybe how different was it than other spin rooms that you've been involved in?
It was a very unique spin room experience. Immediately after the debate ended, probably less than 5 minutes, the Trump campaign and their surrogates flooded the room. They were very quick and excited to make the point that they had a good performance, that President Trump was very strong in his delivery. Meanwhile, the Biden campaign surrogates, Senator Warnock, Gavin Newsom, those folks came in later, perhaps 10 or 15 minutes, and they really only stayed for 5 minutes and did one single gaggle. And so it was a rush of reporters and TV cameramen running to that gaggle to catch the moment. And it wasn't very accessible for many folks. Myself was not able to get really close to the action, and I was only able to capture the governor of California as he was leaving.
Yeah, that is very, very true as well. And potentially they are trying to reevaluate things because it's been called a disaster, a debacle. Were you, as a reporter in the room, looking around at everybody else's reaction? Because I think a lot of people watching on home, watching here on Live Now from Fox, were interested in both what they said and how they said it. Were there any reactions from maybe media within that room?
Definitely. I mean, the media can react to moments as we see on TV. I think in some of the moments where Biden had slipped up on a phrase or forgot his train of thought, you could hear some audible gasps in the crowd. Now, the spin room and the media filing center was a massive arena, so definitely couldn't hear everyone's reaction, but those around me, I could tell, had some moments of surprise.
Yeah, I can only imagine being in that room as the fallout continues. And we heard from Biden yesterday. We heard from Trump yesterday in North Carolina as well. Maybe what are they saying after this debate to both kind of steady both camps?
Well, from the Trump campaign, especially President Trump at his rally on Friday, made it clear to us or he didn't think he was going to go against any other candidate besides Biden. So you can tell that his campaign and his folks are really trying to make the point that they only see Biden as their rival. And, no matter what, they'll be prepared to take on whoever the candidate is. But for the time being, they really expect it to be Biden. And from the Biden camp, their immediate reaction following the debate was to lower some of the media and voters' concerns about his age. They really did focus on saying that President Biden, can serve. He just wants to improve himself, and that just because he didn't have stellar performance, couldn't be for him on his 4 years as president.
All right, that makes a lot of sense, and it was a very different, potentially, Biden in that debate stage, but also at the campaign rally. I think people were noticing potentially that contrast as well. I do want to ask you, Stephanie, as we continue on, I want to put up this tweet right now talking about fundraising, because that was a big component of potentially what comes after it, as well as there's real anger with the Biden family among close allies about the president was staffed and prepared ahead of the debate. It goes on to say that the campaign raised $14 million on the debate day and the morning after. Trump's team raised $8 million, according to reports. So certainly more for Biden than Trump. What do we make of some of these numbers here, Stephanie?
So actually, the Biden campaign released this morning that they raised $33 million between the debate and today. So they do see a mass amount of money coming into their coffers. The Trump campaign has not since updated their numbers, but we do know that on top of the $8 million that they raised since the debate, RNC co-chair Laura Trump had told us that day, before leading up to the debate, they raised $4 million. And so we do see that there's a lot of energy, a lot of folks that are turning their attention to the election right now, and in turn also donating.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Stephanie, before I let you go, I have to ask you kind of about this, because we talk about the debate, we talk about the fundraising, we talk about the reaction after it. There's not going to be a second debate for quite some time, but do we think that's actually going to happen? Do you think that might change?
The Biden campaign has said that they are still planning on doing the debate, and Trump's team has also seemed quite open to the idea. I don't think anything's changed on that front just yet. Our expectation should still be that there will be a debate in September.
All right, very good. All right, Stephanie Lyon, thank you so much. Bloomberg national politics reporter. We appreciate your time, your insight here on Live Now from Fox. All right, thank you so much. As we continue on here covering all the top stories of the day, I'm Andy Mack. A live look one more time there at the White House. Of course, President Biden is not inside of that residence, as the real anger with the President Biden family among those close allies about how the president was staffed and prepared ahead of the debate. This, according to reports, Biden himself is not trying to move forward.